Good day, good people. This is the Energizer Coach coming at you again with part two, part two of the 17 everyday habits that drain our energy. If you remember from part one, I shared some of the tips that you can partake in that will give you a way of helping you not drain your energy, but also continue to have the energy, along with some of the things that I shared in my previous videos regarding intermittent fasting, in regards to how you can stop oversleeping, overthinking, overeating, and things of that nature. And so now I want to come back to give you 5 more tips on what it is that you can do to not have some of these everyday habits. I'm going to now go through 6 through 10. The first one I went through 1 through 5. This time I'll go through 6 through 10. Now, the first one that I want to talk about, many of us are guilty of it. In fact, it's one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about, what we need to be careful of, particularly when we're driving, is when we, on number 6, rapid task switching. Rapid task switching. I'm sure we all know what that is. We have so much going on in our lives. We have to worry about, when we leave the house, did we lock all the doors? Did we turn off the stove? Did we do everything that was necessary before we left? And making sure that those are done, we're also concerned that we're on our way out the door. Did we take care of everything we need to take care of? Did we grab everything we need to grab before we went to work, or before we went to the grocery store, or before we went to the gym, wherever it is that we need to go, so that we don't forget everything we need to go? And then along with that, you got things like people trying to contact you, they're text messaging you, or you see a new post coming up on your phone, alert coming up on your phone about something that just happened, or you're getting a phone call, and then you're driving, and then you're also thinking about these tasks. And some of us who aren't being so responsible are picking up our phone during these tasks. We have these very busy lives that we have, and so we're trying to complete them sometimes all at the same time. But in doing so, if we're not prioritizing the task as to which one we should take care of first, a lot of times we can be completely drained, and then we look at what we have done and we haven't got anything done. So what I did was I found this particular article on how, what neuroscientists say about multitasking. And so I want to read a little bit to you again, maybe if this is something that you have to deal with, maybe it's something that. Now the article is by Olivia Goodhill. She wrote it on July 3rd, 2016. It said neuroscientists say multitasking literally drains the energy reserves of your brain. Now, I don't know about you, but I need as much energy that I can retain in my brain to be able to get whatever I need to get done. And so the article further goes on to say, does your morning routine consist of checking emails, browsing Facebook, downing coffee, heading to the train while Googling one last idea, checking notifications, more coffee, and going through your work email? The myriad activities crammed into your morning and the constant switching between them is likely to make you very tired. When we attempt to multitask, we don't actually do more than one activity at once, but quickly switch between them. And this switching is exhausting. It uses up oxygenated glucose in the brain, running down the same fuel that's needed to focus on tasks. And if you recall my last video, I talked about certain things in regards to why the idea of intermittent fasting was good, because that oxygen that you need to be able to use for brain functioning for your brain has to go to digestive food that can also wear you out. But here's something else. It's also stating, similar to what I told you in regards to what you need as far as the oxygen, that also will drain your brain of what it needs in order to be able to do whatever it is you're trying to do. The switching comes from the comes with a biological cost that ends up making us feel tired much more quickly than if we sustain attention on one thing, says Daniel Levitin, professor of the behavioral neuroscience at McGill University. People eat more. They take more caffeine. Often what you really need in that moment isn't caffeine, but just a break. If you aren't taking regular breaks every couple of hours, your brain won't benefit from that extra cup of coffee. We also hear citing the studies. Studies have found that people who take 15-minute breaks every couple of hours end up being more productive, says Levitin. But these breaks must allow the mind wandering, whether if you're walking, staring out the window, listening to music, or reading. Everyone gets there a different way, but surfing Facebook is not one of them. He says, social network just produces more fractured attention as you flit from one thing to the next. Gloria Marr, professor of the Department of Informatics at the University of California, Irvine, says that when people are interrupted, it typically takes 23 minutes to 15 seconds to return to their work. And most people will do 2 intervening tasks before going back to their original project. This switching leads to a buildup of stress, she says, and so little wonder people who have high rates of neuroticism, impulsivity, and are susceptible to stress tend to switch tasks more than others. I'll leave a link to this site in the description of the video. But again, a lot of times we think that we're multitasking and doing the things that is necessary to be able to keep up and make sure that we have everything done. And at the end of the day, there are times where you look at it and you didn't have all of these things done. And so what you have to do is prioritize which task is more important. Which one do I need to do now? And then when you make that priority list and figure out which one you need to do, then you can get them done with more focus. You have focus more energy to that, and then the energy that you need to focus on your next task is there so that you can get them done. But you must prioritize these tasks. I mean, again, I know it's going to be hard sometimes getting away from multitasking because at times it is really needed. But if you can prioritize your tasks, get these tasks done, and focus that energy on getting it done, or otherwise, again, you just read and see that it showed in the study that multitasking can drain your energy and can make you tired. Once you're tired and you know you have other things you have to do and you don't have time for being tired, then it's going to be hard to pull out of that fatigue to get those things done because you have used all of that energy toward these things that you were multitasking. Okay? Now,